Alright, man, we're going to be predicting the Ultimate Fighter 15 finale. You got any words before we start?
Not really. I've already told them we have the same picks.
Yeah, basically, we agree pretty much on this entire card, I think. Of course, we'll be doing this.
Every fight.
Yeah, we'll be doing the same format we did for the last video. So on this video, it's the undercard, and then check out our other video for the main card. I guess let's just start it off. John Albert versus Eric Perez. I have John Albert, and I'm assuming you do too.
I do as well. I do have John Prince Albert.
Yeah. What made you pick John Albert over Eric?
Well, actually, I don't know him personally, but I know a lot about him. My brother trained with him at Victory Athletics with Dennis Holman, and I've only seen him fight twice. Once when he was a fighter, and three times. Once he was a fighter, once in the finale, and then the last fight against Ivan MaddDogg, which he got stuffed in, but he had a great ground game. He just showed a wicked guard that really could stand up. I don't really know much about Eric Perez. I know he trained at Jackson MMA. I know he's 10-4. He's never been knocked out. But this is his UFC debut. It's his first big show. And I'm just going to go for Albert on this one. I feel good about it.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed John Albert is very active off his back. I mentioned in my previous recording. He's very active off his back, so I'm not worried about him being on his back. And even against Ivan MaddDogg in his fight, he was winning the fight. He had Ivan rocked and then decided to take the fight down to the ground, which I think is where he made his mistake. But
I agree.
Eric is he has great cardio. He's high paced, and he has a very strong right hand, which I think if he has any way of winning this fight is landing that right hand against John Albert, because I noticed that John lowers his left hand a little bit. But overall, I have John Albert winning a very close decision.
I could see him getting Perez's first TKO. That's my prediction.
Oh really? Oh, I don't know. I don't really see him finishing the fight, but I mean, I could always go for a submission or a decision. That's the way I'm going. But next fight, Joe Proctor and Jeremy Larson. Who do you have?
I have Joe Proctor.
Yeah, same here. Joe Proctor's submissions impressed me a lot more than Jeremy Larson's striking, so I had to favor Joe Proctor in this fight.
Also, Proctor, he trains Team Aggression at Lozon MMA with Joe Lozon. He's 7-1. His one loss is by TKO. He's going up against Jeremy Larson, who's 8-2. He didn't impress me on the fight. He lost a pretty boring fight to Michael Chiesa, which Chiesa is in the finals. It was impressive overall, but still,
Yeah.
Jeremy Larson only has one serious fight against Efren Escudero, and I don't really consider him top material. Joe Proctor, definitely UFC material. I'm going Proctor submission early.
Yeah. Now the next fight that I'm actually want to talk a lot about is Cristiano Marcelo versus Sam Sicilia. Honestly, in my opinion, Sam has a puncher's chance in this fight, and I think they're just feeding him to Cristiano right now.
Oh, completely. Sam got into the house with an 8-second knockout.
Yeah, he had that. Yeah, against Aaron Breach, he had that overhand right that knocked out Aaron Breach, and all of his losses are by 3 fights. He's lost by submission, and he's going up against Cristiano Marcelo, who trains Chris Cyborg and Vanderlei Silva. Like, it's just, this fight, I want to see the lines open up, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cristiano's like -300 or something.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty bad. I mean, he trains at Shoot Box with Vanderlei, like you said. It's not like he just trains there. He's the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu head coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Fourth degree black belt. He started his career in 1998. This guy's been in the game for a while.
Yeah. And also on the feet, I mean, he's no slouch. He's willing to exchange, which sets up his ground game because he sucks his opponents in, and then he just takes them down and just completely dominates them on the ground.
Which is actually what backfired for him on the show against Justin Lawrence. He tried to stand with Lawrence and ended up getting knocked out in the second round. I really think against Sam, he should be focusing on getting to the ground as soon as possible.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Next fight, Miles Jury versus Chris Saunders. I really didn't look into Chris Saunders that much. I did see a couple of his fights, but Miles Jury I think he's going to win this fight by submission. What do you think?
Yeah, I have the same thing. I think Jury, not much information on him. Neither much information on either guy.
Yeah.
I know that Jury is undefeated currently. He's 9-0, and no fight has ever gone the distance. He has 4 knockouts and 5 submissions. He's going against Chris Saunders, who has not impressed me on the show. He made it pretty far, but none of his fights really wowed me. And I think that Jury could take this because Jury lost to Ally Quinta. We didn't see a good fight. He was fighting with the top guy in the final.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess Jury for sure.
Yeah, that's the exact same pick that I have. Moving on to Darren Cruikshank versus Chris Tickle. Honestly, Darren, man, he just looks like a juggernaut to me. Like, it's a guy that likes to take his opponents down and just destroy them on the ground with ground and pound. However, he does have two vicious knockout losses. Of course, one of them was to James Vick with that knee, and then Chris Tickle, really good hands, fast pace, but he has all submission losses. So I don't know how good his ground game is. And when he is taken down to the ground, his guard is very inactive. He just lays there, does punch his opponent a little bit in the head, but that's about it. What do you think?
Krishik was my first pick when the show first started. That's why I was so sad when he was the first fight he lost. I like Krishik a lot, and I love the fact he was a Taekwondo black belt. He used to do Taekwondo since he was 2 years old. Both his parents are like third-degree Taekwondo black belt. He's an NCAA wrestler at all of it at college, so I know he's got ground game, but I learned that watching the show in his intro fight when he shoots those power doubles. But he doesn't shoot takedowns, he shoots power doubles.
Yeah.
That's actually what I think lost the fight for him against Vick, because he went for that power double.
Yeah, exactly.
And ran into a knee.
Yeah.
And, Chris Tickle's never been formally trained. He's got good hands, but from what I've seen, that's about it. So I appreciate the advantage. I mean, Tickle may have a chin advantage, but appreciate takes to the ground. I think Tickle just lay there and die.
Yeah, this is actually one of the fights that I would actually parlay Darren with somebody else. Again, the lines haven't opened up for all these fights, but I'm considering Darren for a parlay, maybe with actually our next fight that we're going to talk about, Pat Schilling versus Max Holloway. In this fight, I have Pat Schilling winning, and I assume you do also.
I have the thrilling Schilling indeed myself as well.
Yeah, but I do want to point out Max Holloway actually impressed me a lot. His stand-up is probably one of my favorite to watch. He has fast hands, his knees. And in his fight against Poirier, I am going to say that I had Max Holloway winning the stand-up against Poirier.
A lot of guys have been bloody elbow compared him to Anthony Pettis 2 years ago, so imagine how much better he is now. But I'm still going to go with Pat Schilling on this. Every fight of his has been ended in the first round. He's never made it out of the first round.
Yeah.
Both guys coming off their UFC debut, they both lost their debut. Both guys will be hungry. But, when you go against the striker and the ground guy, I'm definitely going to go for the ground guy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's funny that you mentioned Anthony Pettis because I was going to make a point that in one of Max Holloway's highlights, he actually does the Showtime kick. It doesn't land, but he does it perfectly. And I just talked to Pat Schilling actually on Twitter a few hours ago, and I asked him about his strength and conditioning because I want to make sure that he can hold down Max on the ground and, use his wrestling and his submissions, and it's on par. So I'm definitely going with Pat Schilling by submission, and I'm parlaying him most likely with Darren. So.
I saw those posts on Twitter, and the amount of weight he is putting out right now is ridiculous for a 145er.
Yes, exactly. I was very impressed. So there's no way I'm not gonna bet him. And the last card on the undercard, the last fight on the undercard, Jonathan Brookins versus Charles Oliveira. Again, we predicted this fight kind of on our last video real quick, but now that I did some more of the research, I just think Jonathan Brookins is a little bit more well-rounded than Charles.
Yeah, I do too. Brookins coming in as a plus 25 underdog. Oliveira is negative 210 favorite. A lot of people don't think that Oliveira has great striking. I think that's what Brookins is going to come in. I disagree. Oliveira has amazing striking, but I still give Brookins the advantage. We just haven't seen it. Oliveira's only been in the UFC about 2.5 years, 3 years. And we've only seen his ground game. It sucks, but especially in his last fight, he was great with his stand-up. But, Brookins has moved to 45. He's only been stopped by Eric Koch, who's a very powerful wrestler, good striker. He's got very well-rounded altogether. Charles Oliveira is no Eric Koch, so I'm going to go for Brookins in this fight. He's only been TKO'd once by Jose Aldo. Besides that, I believe he's 13-4.
Yeah.
And he has three decision losses.
Yeah, exactly. His only TKO actual finish is by Jose Aldo. And Charles' striking is very unorthodox, and he likes to use those kicks and stuff. But of course, his expertise is on the ground. And I think Jonathan is just going to use his wrestling and just overwhelm Charles. I think that's the way that he can win this fight, by just overwhelming Charles and just dominating him.